first off, it's a great outing for the team overall. Look at it, 3 phases of the game, really played really well. It was a clean game, obviously. Minimum mental errors and missed assignments out there, and you look at it, for us to go out there, really all 3 phases, trusting in Uriah, Tyler, KO's plan not to play any of our starters in the preseason, for us to go out there and play cohesively the way that we did and, have a good convincing win, building that confidence is very encouraging to see. And as we continue to stack the days and move forward, you kind of start to look at what my eyes are telling me. And it's a really good, encouraging feeling to see that guys are truly starting to buy in to the culture, to the systems, to the techniques that we're working. Because one thing I look at, and I really like to examine, considering being a new regime, when you come into when you are a new regime coming in, taking over, there's a difference between belief versus buying in. And so you look at it, you can believe, players can believe in something, but are they investing the time? Are they truly buying into the culture that we're building here? Are they truly buying into the techniques that they're working on? Do they want to go do their own thing? And so you see guys starting to really buy into what we're preaching, what we're coaching. And so it's just really encouraging to see. And I think that really displayed Sunday. And hopefully we just continue to stack the days and build towards that. And I'm excited at where we're at.
Coach, with Jalen Rager, his punt return against Packers, obviously it was, quote, only 7 yards, but it seemed like he really had to fight to get that yardage. It kind of felt like more.
He did. Going back to my comments last week, right? You like that, huh? You like that. But no, that's kind of what you expect. When I made those comments, I was just referring to, those are the body build that you want your returners to have, because they do have that ability to break tackles and make guys miss. And because of the way he is built, he's able to, shug off really a really special teams ace for the Green Bay Packers there, and Rudy Ford. And so, again, like you say, that 7-yard return didn't seem like much, but it was everything.
How many salivating jokes did you get last week?
Woo! Man, my phone was blowing up. That was that was funny. That was funny. In a great way. In a great way. I appreciate Jalen and everything that he does and what he's going to do for this team. But maybe I took a little over the edge with the good-looking cast. Yeah. So yeah.
With Lewis Seen coming back, I guess, where do you see him kind of fitting in on special teams?
He is going to immediately be emerged into significant roles on all 4 phases. He'll be a core 14 for us, and typically how it goes is special teams kind of like that. The grooming process for, eventually is make plays. And next thing you know, I kind of just send him on his way to defense. And so I'm looking forward to get Lou back. He's been meeting with me every single day, whether he's been hurt or whether he's been healthy. Just met with him yesterday. I met with him on Wednesday. And so for him to be a young guy like that, understanding what his role is, obviously we do a good job of communicating clear job responsibility in this organization. And so Lou has a great idea of what we expect out of him, and he's been answering that bill.
Man, are you surprised when people let Kenny touch the ball?
Oh, yes, I am. And it's important for us from a KRR standpoint that we find a way to make him pay for that. I mean, considering the electric ability that he does have to be able to impact the football game, I expect Philly to try to pound it out of the end zone. That's just kind of just been their MO because they're a big analytics team. And so whenever they do give us opportunity to return it, that ball's going to come out of the end zone.
You talk a lot about how
establishing rules for him in terms of how deep you have to be before you automatically can't return it, or when can you return it?
We usually right now, I tell Kane, go in and sit 5 yards deep in the end zone. If we don't like the direction of the kick, or if you feel like you have to bag up and you're not getting good forward momentum catching it, then you would probably go ahead and let that one go.
You talk a lot about how cohesive the unit looked. How do you build that cohesion when most of the players that took snaps in special teams during the preseason aren't taking those snaps in games?
Exactly, and so that now turns over to practice, right? And, the way we see it, like a lot of coaches preach about it, make practice harder than the games. But for us, that's truly what it is, and that starts with the scout team. Our scout team is doing an unbelievable job of giving us really, really good looks, really pressing those guys and treating as if they are on the 53-man roster. And so the cohesiveness, and the unbelievable elite communication. I mean, we're going on the road for the first time, and so I've been preaching a lot this week about nonverbal communication because Philly's going to be a loud place. It's a rowdy place. A lot of our guys haven't played Philly or even played in Philly in quite some time, and so we're, the Jordan Hicks, the Jalen Ragers are trying to kind of give them an idea of what that environment is about to be like, and so our nonverbal communication has to be at its highest, and our practice habits have been unbelievable. Knock on wood, hopefully that continues to move on forward throughout as these weeks start to stack up on us. Our practice players continue to give us good looks, and we're able to kind of make the game be easy for us.
With you being accustomed to obviously playing at Philly, what is the biggest challenge for special teams? Like, is it the crowd? Is it being outdoors?
I think the outdoors. So in Philly, how it is, you kind of got this tunnel in. It's really the swirling winds that make it really, really tough. And thankfully, outside, Greg has been getting we've had a couple of windy days this week. So Greg can kind of get used to kind of kicking in that wind because Greg hasn't kicked in Lincoln Financial either. And so I've been kind of giving him a little bit tidbits on what to expect there, which way the winds usually typically blow, what the yard lines may look like for us when we're talking max distances, and me being able to communicate that to KO once the kind of game rolls around and we're in those last 2-minute situations in the game or in the half situation, understand, okay, well, the line going this way is 30 versus going the opposite way is 35, 40 yards.
What was your reaction when Greg hit that one from 56?
Easy breeze, right? I said it in the offseason, OTAs, I firmly believe Greg Joseph will have the best year of his career. And, that right there was just another confidence boost for Greg. And as he continues to build out his process of making every single kick the exact same, and that's what he's done, whether it's an extra point, whether it's a career-long 56-yarder. And you look at that kick, a lot of times, it's hard to pick out, well, was it this play that changed the game or this play that changed the game. You could argue and say that kick was a huge, play in the game right there that really flipped momentum. For us to be able to gain that, we start talking field position versus gaining another 3 points right there. I mean, that kick was huge. It was huge. And so Greg out there, he had a nice, quieted mind, found his stillness up and through. Ryan Wright got it down, good snap by Poe. And, those three specialists have been really connected and operating as a unit. And it's encouraging to see.
You weren't here last year, but when he missed that kick in week 2, he bounced back pretty quick. Like, how impressive is that a guy can do that? And, like, knowing what you know now about him, like, what have you learned about his mental capacity? His mental,
being with Greg over the past 4 or 5 months, this guy is mentally tough. And that's what you want out of your kickers, honestly, is a guy who's able to bounce back when he does miss a game winner that was 33 yards, right? Like, what is the capacity? How quickly do you forget that and able to move on? Because, in certain games, it might be a situation where you miss a game tie-in, defense goes out, stops them, and now we need you right back up again. How do you respond to that? And so for Greg, his mental toughness, mental capacity is able to just keep churning, to kind of block out all the noise is really good. And so I like where he's at.
Can you learn that, or do you just kind of have to have that?
I think it can be learned. I think it's something that you can work at. And, we've been trying to put him in the most pressing situations. Even when we brought in Gabe Brickage, that was kind of all a part of kind of help build up that mental toughness to see, is he able to respond when, not necessarily his back against the wall, but when, he's in a competitive type of situation. And so he was able to do that. So that was a check mark for him. And then we start putting him in more team field goal situations, a little bit of crowd noise, a little bit of, his own teammates talking trash to him. How does he respond then? And then how does he respond when he does miss, that short field goal, or when he does miss that game-winning field goal? All right, let's put you back out there and see. And every single time he's answered the call.
I believe Philadelphia's punter is an Australian punter. There seems to be a lot more of those in the league. Is there a difference in the way that you have to prep when you're dealing with an Australian punter?
Yeah, absolutely. So you look at it, and it is quite a bit of guys who are now Australian punters, and a lot of them kind of like to hit the end over end balls, which is like your kickoff balls that you kind of have to be ready for. But SIP balls, looking at it, the operation time is a lot faster too, rather than a traditional punter. And so we kind of have to prepare, even within our rush schemes, on being a little bit more aggressive in how we attack the rushes, because we have to, obviously the op time is a a lot faster, a lot quicker, beating the ball to the spot. It doesn't really have as much hang time as a traditional ball does. And so we've been kind of working with Jalen on, let's say he's on the left hash, and he might even being able to work to get all the way over to the sideline to go catch those balls that's going to his right. And so feeding into it, we just got to make sure we're all good on beating the balls to the spot, having an understanding of seeing it off of the foot. And, he has the ability to hit those end-over-end balls, but as well as the spiral balls as well. So being able to see it off the foot kind of helps us determine of where the downturn or where the nose is going to be coming down at in terms of placement of the ball.
Yeah, changing the operation time, does that change the way the jammers and gunners have to interact too?
No, not at all. Not at all. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Last couple for Coach.
Meeting with Lewis Cine as much as you have, is there an element of his approach or just how he thinks the game that
For
really
sure.
stands
So
out to
for
you?
Lewis is a guy that needs the reps. He's a guy that repetition, like it's all good. He can see it on tape and he can understand it. But him to fully be able to get it, he needs to be on the practice field actually doing the reps. Like he's a rep guy.
Thanks,
Awesome. Cool. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.